I'm Richie and welcome to Helix Cloud Games, and this is SideQuest, a show where we take a step off the critical path and explore more what the video game world has to offer. On this week's show, I'm joined by the host of the Sounds of Stadia podcast, Mr. Chris.
Not to be confused with old man Harrison Ford.
And of course, we're joined this week by you, because we're doing this live as part of our celebration stream, which we are doing for Alzheimer's Society. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be answering your questions. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon for notifications when all our great shows go live, such as the Sound Stadia podcast, which comes out every single Monday on podcast services and YouTube, and our first night live streams, and other things like the charity streams and all the awesome stuff that we do, our first looks, which we're doing later today. I think, what, Chris, are you doing Mafia?
I promised the people if Mafia came to Stadia Pro, I would play the game, even though I begrudge playing the game. Yes. Later on today, or yesterday, whenever you're watching this, I did it.
But
was it good? Who knows?
We haven't recorded it yet, so we don't know. But as usual, if you have any topics for conversation, or you just want to join the conversation even further, there's a link to our Discord server in below. But as I mentioned, that we are doing this for charity. We are doing it for the Alzheimer's Society. So anything you can give would be much appreciated if you just head over to justgiving.com/Helix Cloud Games. Right, I think let's get into it. The first question is actually for me. Usually I throw the first thing to you, but I think Sarge reached out to me on Discord before I told everyone that we were going to be doing a Q&A session, and he's asking Dragon Quest XI's or Octopath Traveler. So have you haven't played either of these games, have you?
No, then massive JRPGs are not my forte. I appreciate them for what they are, but I either don't have the time to commit to them or something else.
Well, the reason I bring this up is it's quite an interesting conversation, because while they are both big JRPGs, they're very different. Like, out of the two, I personally preferred Octopath, but they are both turn-based combat. Dragon Quest is very much more 3D, bit more, I was going to say open world, but they're both kind of like you transition through areas. Dragon Quest has a bit more of a linear story going throughout the entire game, where Octopath is kind of broke down to 8 different stories, one for each of the characters.
Yeah.
I prefer Octopath, but you can't go wrong with Dragon Quest. I've finished both of them. I haven't played Octopath on Stadia. I played that on Switch, though.
It's a gorgeous game, Octopath, as well.
Yeah. I
feel like if I was to pick one, that would be my go-to on Octopath, just because that art style is just so.
I think Square branded a HD 2D, haven't they, or something?
Yeah, is it Project Triangle? That's the similar vein due to come out as well.
There's Project Triangle Strategy, and there was, I think, isn't there another one? Project Triangle Strategy is more of a tactical RPG rather than like a traditional RPG, so it's more something like in lines of Final Fantasy Tactics, but I'd love to have that come to Stadia.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's great to see that they're bringing like them type of games full stop, because in my brain I'm just thinking they're locked on Switch, they're a Switch exclusive. Like, how many people don't realise Octopath Traveler is available on anything but Switch and maybe PC? It's been on Stadia for ages now.
It's probably about a year since it came to Stadia, but I personally would go Octopath, but I don't think you can go wrong with either of them. It's kind of, the best thing to do is just look at the trailers and go, which one appeals to you more?
Yeah.
Worked so well. The Dragon Quest is a bit more cartoony, I think. It's actually the art style's done, a lot of the character designs done by Akira Toriyama of Dragon Ball fame.
Oh, okay.
He's the manga artist of Dragon Ball. He's done the character.
That makes sense.
He also has done it for like Chrono Trigger as well. So if you look at them and you're like, oh, I recognize that style, it's him.
There's a very distinct reason for it. That makes total sense. Interesting. Great question. Question. It's such a hard one as well, because they are like so well revered games in their own right.
Clarduck has written in saying, Doom Eternal, please make a Stadia Doom special day or so. Doom is the best. Not really a question, but I think that's something we could probably look into. I think
a Doom Day?
Yeah, we'll do, or just stream Doom or something. Like, Doom has a multiplayer. We could look into that as a first night live stream.
It does, because I own Doom 2016 because it was on like an amazing offer for like £5 maybe.
Yeah, something like
and then
that.
I bought Doom 64 because it was on an amazing offer for £1. Yeah. So I bought that. And Doom Eternal has been on offer for, I think, less than 20. But I told myself, Chris, you've not even touched 2016 yet. You've played the first few levels of Doom 64. You don't need to buy Doom Eternal just to have like the set.
Yeah.
But yeah, Doomsday on Stadia could certainly happen.
I think I have Doom Eternal. I definitely bought it at least once because I did a first look on it.
Right.
But then it never really gripped me at the time. So it's kind of just been sat in my library unplayed. I've started about 8 times, and when it's just like you play for like an hour, this is not the game for me right now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's anyway. Let's next question. So Fabled Alpaca Simon writes in saying, what would you like to see next in terms of features in the app or site? This is much more of a normal SideQuesty topic.
Stadia. What would you like to see in the app? Personal folders would probably be a big one for me. I think now the library's getting to like a ridiculous size. It'd be really, really good if I could just jump in there and just personalize it a bit more and maybe put like top games in one. And I think to follow on from that, probably the ability to hide certain games. Like if I've claimed a pro game and I don't want to see it on my taskbar, essentially, just the ability to kind of put things into a hidden folder. But yeah, I think just a different way to maybe set the layout.
Do a bit of housekeeping. I personally do like the folder option. Like it's basically what you can do on PlayStation. I always liked it. So I'd have a folder for my backlog games, folder for things like multiplayer games that I just want to leave on there. You kind of things like FIFA or Overcooked that were just like they're just going to stay on my console at all times. But I always like the folder option. But I agree. It's kind of way of just tidying, so I can put like. Or even just a simple way of like starring games or favoriting games so they all pin to the top. There's lots of different ways you can do it, but there's definitely some housekeeping. Yeah, I'm sure there's something to think about because as it goes on, with no downloads, all of your games are always going to be there, which can probably get a bit overwhelming. So whether they do it through filters or whatever.
Yeah, when you've got like such a massive library, I mean, we've seen it just when we were playing games a few moments ago. You kind of open up your library and it's just like, there is a lot of stuff there, and a lot of it you forget about. Like we found just by scrolling to the end, you look at the long like block of games and think like, I forgot I even had that game.
Yeah,
because they just get lost in the mix a little bit. And with the way the layout currently is, you've got to scroll so far to the end. For some people, if you've been a founder and you've claimed every pro game, you've bought a bunch of games, it's just so far in the pile, you're just not going to get to it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how folders work. I think a filter system might work a bit better, so you can just because otherwise every time you get a game, you're going to have to physically add it to the folders, and there's over 200 games on the platform at the moment.
Yeah,
I would like have over 100.
Sometimes when you scroll down, I think it's iPhones that do it actually, and it brings up the alphabet down the side column. It like does a little zoomed in on like A, B, C, D all the way down. So as you're scrolling through your list of games, you can maybe isolate it by like alphabetical order. That would be kind of a little bit nicer.
I'm with you on there. I just any more ways to kind of I kind of like just giving it play a choice. Implement a handful of different features, different ways that you can organise your library, and leave it up to people to decide how they want to do it for themselves.
Yeah,
so things like having pins, having folders, being able to sort by alphabetical order, having filters, all that stuff. But we'll take it all.
And any quality of life improvements, I'm quite happy with at the moment. Full stop. Anything particular for you? Do you think? I'm trying to think in the game and app. There's not really much more.
I've said it before.
It has at its core everything, but just in the wrong order, maybe.
A big thing for me would be homogenizing them. So whether you're on your phone, on the Chromecast, or on your PC through Chrome browser, you should have all the same options for all three places, and that's including having the storefront. Or it shouldn't be a different experience where you're playing.
Yeah, that it needs to be unified. In fact, I would love a storefront on the Chromecast Ultra, full stop. Like, that would be nice to have. The ability to buy games sat on my couch with the big TV, as opposed to having the. I mean, not that it's too inconvenient, but I just think having that, like you said, that kind of unified UI across everything. And I know it differs from phone to screen, but you kind of want it to be just seamless, and you don't want features to be missing. And we've said many times before, I think, having options to maybe pin certain aspects like trophies or achievements.
Yeah.
I want them to be front and center. I don't care for the explore tab on the app, but I do care for checking my achievements. So something expanding honestly, that out a bit more.
Bit of it off topic. I think the explore tab's terrible at the moment. It's just a continuous list of anything people decide to dump on there, but there's no way to search it. There's no way to filter out things. It's just it's just a stream of crap.
It's kind of like social media, like Facebook. Sorry, where just you scroll, it's like advert, random post, doesn't appeal to me.
It'd be almost like if you're scrolling through Twitter, but instead of only following the people you want to follow, you're following everyone, and everyone's just posting no context screen caps.
Yeah, I guess if you've got a lot of
it needs work.
Friends as well.
I see where they're going with it, having a bit more of a social integration in there, but you can't. There's things like you can't comment. You can't filter out whether it's just your friends or by game. So it's entirely possible someone could just drop spoilers and you check it and there you go, game spoiled.
Yeah, there is an option to blur out spoilers, right? I feel like that was an announcement they made.
I think so, but it's not intuitive. It needs work.
Yeah, certainly.
You want me to turn my mic up? Do that. Right. Next question. Chris Vittora is actually asking in our chat right now. Not sure if this is a SideQuest question, but your thoughts on public party when I load a game. It tells me a few people need 2 players, etc., depending on what I play. What are your thoughts on that, Chris? It's basically how the public parties are being integrated. It's a very new feature.
Very new. They've not even made an announcement about it, I don't think. As far as we're aware, it's stealth dropped and people are starting to use it. In terms of functionality, I'm guessing you mean it's telling you need 2 players to play. So if you're playing a game and you don't maybe want the full amount, the party may limit you to needing the full amount. I've not tested it out myself yet, so it's hard to get a bearing on that. In terms of the feature itself, I think it's great for people looking for people to play with. We mentioned it in the podcast, kind of like the ins and outs of how beneficial it is to such a small player base, because it just creates an open party for people who are playing the same title to find similar players and hopefully make connections, make friends, and find fellow gamers to hopefully make your game more exciting. But yeah, if it's got limitations on kind of number capacity or it has to wait for a full party before you can get started.
I haven't explored it myself, but I was assuming that you just kind of open a party and just go, I need this many people. But I think it can be good, especially if you say, let's say you're playing something like Destiny, you're playing on your own, but you actually want to play with other people. You set up Destiny, goes, he's a party that just needs 1 person. You can just jump straight in with them.
Just nice and easy.
I think it's a cool feature. I don't think it's quite. I can't think of any other platform has something to that extent, really.
Not for. I guess it's in classic games. Obviously, you can just matchmake and find someone, and then you would add them as a friend. Whereas this is very much.
Well, it's usually done in game, not at the on like the platform level.
Yeah. We'll have to say. I'm guessing they're gonna. Obviously, it's still not publicly announced yet, so we'll probably see it tweaked and played with a little bit more. It's another quality of life thing, which I think it could be great if it's just finessed that little bit more. Like maybe more explanation or direction as to how it works, like within the system, within the app.
Yes, it's something we're gonna have to play with to see what's about.
Oh yeah, definitely.
This is actually one a couple of people have wrote in. Simon's wrote in saying, when or if do you think they'll have an update on the controller and how? But I think James 26 Murphy 26 also asked, will there be new controls for Stadia, as this is something we really need? So let's answer the second part of what James has said there first. Do you think we really need an upgrade to the controller?
I don't think we really need it. I think the controller serves its purpose really well. It's a really nice controller. I think even since launch, we've said it's actually surprisingly decent quality. It's quite robust. I think there's a few tweaks here and there that people would like. Things like the triggers, I think, are a bit overly sensitive.
Oh,
I think, especially
to a ridiculous level. If you rest your finger on them, sometimes it triggers it. It's like
triggers it.
Yeah, that is the only main issue I have with the triggers, with the controller. To be honest, is the triggers a bit too loose, a bit too sensitive.
Some of the buttons are maybe a bit too clicky as well. I think the directional pad in particular. It leaves a lot to be desired, I think, with how clicky it is. And that's only coming from someone who sometimes plays while my wife's asleep or trying to get to sleep. And if you're playing something like Marvel's Avengers, which requires like constant button mashing, it is very much just constant clatter. But that's like little different things. I think the analog sticks are fine. I think the actual like just ergonomics of the controller itself. I like the symmetry of like similar to a PlayStation controller where it's not offset. I don't mind the Xbox controller, but my hands are symmetrical, so I have a preference for symmetrical layout on the controller. Yeah. That's just me. I do wish we get more colors.
Yeah,
I think that's something. I think whether it's an Xbox Design Labs similar thing or it's just more variety, because after 2 years, I've got probably 4 white versions now from the Premiere promotions. Got my Founders one, which I love, and I've got Wasabi, which is awesome in its own right. Still haven't got a black one, but this will go back to when they do the promotions. It will be great to have a choice.
Yeah.
But it's just it's just kind of so limited, especially when you look at Xbox doing Design Lab and PlayStation putting out like special edition colors and collector's editions and.
See, I'm
just a bit more variety.
I really like the D-pad. I like how precise it feels. That click, I actually like the click. It's not so loud that I think it's. Well, I suppose if your wife's asleep next to you in bed and you're playing there, I could see that being an issue. But I don't play games in bed. I go to bed to go to sleep. But for me, it's mainly the triggers, and an Xbox Design Labs would be awesome. Another one I think Kunas said in chat, a new model with full Bluetooth would be nice. Support for Bluetooth headphones would be great, especially with the new Pixel Bud Airs out, which I actually own. Think that would be a nice sync if I could just sync them straight to my controller.
Yeah, well, that was the thing with the Bluetooth functionality. It's a great shout, because I think even using the Stadia controller via Bluetooth on different devices. So when I play on like kind of my Samsung tablet or the phone, I need to obviously sync the controller up to the Google server, which is great. However, it would be nice to just pair it to the tablet via Bluetooth and just have it work through that, so I don't need to input the code to sync it to the server. So I know it's not as fast, and the latency would be worse. However, I know a lot of people who have the smart TVs. So when Stadia is available on all smart TVs, as that's rolled out across the LG and other ranges, if you've got a Bluetooth television, which most smart TVs are now, it would be another kind of outlet for the controller to be utilized. I think that would be nice. But Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, I don't see why that wouldn't be something they could implement. So great shout on that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Right, what should we go? But I think touching back on the ergonomics, I think this is the most comfortable controller I've ever held. I really do. I think it's much more comfortable than the DualSense and the DualShock 4. The DualSense has got stupid ridges that make it uncomfortable. You don't notice much when you play, but if you're just generally handling it, this is nice and smooth. I like the Stadia controller.
It is nice and smooth.
Related to this, Kumna asks, do you think they'll ever run out of Premier Editions to give away?
No. I think, Kumna, they've actually discovered some kind of
the CCU mine. They've got a mine.
They've done something, where like they've got some kind of replication machine. Like they put one Premier Edition in, and it pops out another 2, and it's almost I'm trying to think what cartoon it is, where it's stuck on loop, and it's just they can't turn it off now, Richie, and it's just generating Premier Edition just keeps coming out like an industrial line, like product line of stuff, and they'll just keep packaging them and giving them away as much as they can with every possible game. But I'd like to see an iteration. I don't think it's their priority. You'd like to think all these companies have research and development constantly going into improvements, but as it stands, I'd quite happily take a color palette variety over a new controller. I think variety is the spice of life. I think the controller is great as it is.
Yeah,
it can be improved on, but I don't think it's necessary to the success of the platform.
I don't think they need to bring out a new revision of the controller. I think they just need to maybe tweak a few things in the next batch.
Well, yeah, that's it. It could just be like a Gen 2 controller.
In terms of Premier Editions, I generally think this goes actually into Zin's question. If they've overestimated the interest in Premier Editions, you think they also got way too many blades? I don't think they have overestimated the amount of Premier Editions. I think the reason they're doing a lot of Premier Edition giveaways is in part because Google had a lot of Chromecast Ultras, probably still in stock, that last batch of manufacture when they brought out the Google TV, Chromecast with Google TV. So I think they've probably looked at it and they go, the best way, it's almost killing two birds with one stone. If we take all these Chromecasts, turn them into Premier Editions, then we can give them away. It gets rid of that stock and gets people into Stadia.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. It does make sense if, from a business standpoint, if you've got plenty of stock of older devices to quickly bundle them with a more current product and ship them out. There is like a weird irony that people who are getting into Stadia maybe for the first time with this new promotion that we discussed on the podcast, buy a game over £50, $60, you get sent another Premier Edition. There is a weird irony in that they're sending you an outdated piece of tech in the form of the Chromecast Ultra to brand new consumers. That's like, imagine going and buying your new mobile phone and it comes with like an old case for a different model or something. Or that's a bad example, but you know what I'm getting at. Like,
I know what you mean. It's like,
there's no other kind of like segment of the tech industry where you buy something. It's like, buying an iPhone and they give you the old headphones with the 3.5 jack and that lightning part. You'd kind of be like, I appreciate having them, but it's not really designed for what I'm buying, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it might just be they had too many Premier Editions. They thought they would sell more, so now they're just trying to give them away. We do have the new bundle, haven't we? That comes with the Google TV.
Yeah, I think we got that clarified though, that they come as separate packages anyway, so you just get a white controller which I don't mind.
I don't mind that. Oh, actually makes a lot more sense to me, because it's nice to get everything like in one box when you get this new like gaming console. But if they just go, we're just going to bundle these pieces of tech together, well, it actually probably more environmentally sound, because you've got making less SKUs, and when it comes to selling them, just go one of them off the shelf. There you go.
IKEA style.
Yeah.
IKEA.
Right. James 26 Murphy 26 is asking what headsets you would recommend for the Stadia controller. I don't think either of us use a headset.
I've got my Razer headset, but I very much just use the plug straight in ones. I
used to use when we game on PlayStation occasionally. I have a headset, HyperX Cloud Stinger, which I think is very, very comfortable. It's got a decent mic. It's good enough. It's a wired one, and it comes with an adapter so you can plug it into PCs and stuff as well. But I don't know. I don't really know. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of these Sennheiser. They're fairly cheap headphones, but they don't have a mic, so it really depends what you need.
Yeah, circumstantial. I had some Sony ones for years, but any extended game periods, they just weren't comfortable because they didn't fully cover my ears. Yeah. So I've got some Razer Kraken ones now, and I don't use them all that much because I usually just play on the living room TV when I can have like just the TV speakers. So there's very rare instances I need headphones, and when I do, it's usually on stream, and I find the Razer ones really good, cup over the ears, block everything else out. They're really comfortable. They're not too expensive as well, and the quality is spot on for what I need.
As a glasses wearer, it's over ear only. I can't have the ones that sit on your ears. They're just so uncomfortable.
Just squashing your head.
The reason I like these Sennheisers is I've had a pair of the. I used to have a pair of these. I had for about 6. I think it might have been like 8 years. So I've actually got a pair of these at work, and these ones as well. The reason I like these is when we're podcasting, I don't like noise cancelling stuff. I don't like stuff right in my ear. Because I like to be able to hear my own voice while I'm talking, and these aren't. And it's also they're very lightweight, so they're really comfortable.
Yeah, there is something about noise cancelling ones. I have a pair of Samsung Galaxy Buds for when I like listen to podcasts and stuff. And there is something about having them so wedged into your head that you just literally can't hear anything else. And it's I understand it for like listening to the purity of the music or the sound and stuff, but there is an element of me which likes to hear my surroundings still. It almost feels like you're so switched off. I don't know. That's just my preference.
If I was gaming late at night, I'd probably be wearing my Pixel Buds. Because you get the better audio quality, but for when I'm podcasting, I prefer these.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Right. I will shout out as well, Chris in the chat saying, not sure he agrees with me about the outdated CCU. I didn't mean outdated as in like the tech's not good. I just meant like they don't sell them anymore. It's like that as in they're not available to purchase. They're outdated as in they're not readily to buy. The tech's still great. Like at the end of the day, I have a couple of old Chromecasts in my house still. I think the Chromecasts in general, like casting from a mobile device, it's worked for years now, and there's not really much you can improve on. Obviously, the new Chromecast does it with a fancy new dongle, and the controller on the new Chromecast is a game changer when it comes to just navigating through Netflix, Disney games and stuff. But just in reference to them not being able to buy like from Google Direct anymore.
Yeah, and there is a technical upgrade as well for Stadia. I think when I've done internal Wi-Fi checks on just my home network, at one point before they launched Stadia on the Google TV, I had my Google TV and a Chromecast Ultra in my TV. So they're literally right next to each other. And I was getting much faster speeds from the Google TV and my own internal networking. Both of them were above the speed of I pay for my internet anyway, so it wasn't impactful at all. But it's one of them. It's like it was interesting to see like, no, this tech is actually slightly better. Especially I think if you get going for like if you got like gigabit Wi-Fi or something, then you're probably going to get a bit better performance out your Google TV. But both are going to be fine.
Good stuff.
Yeah, you touched on side asking what lights you've got. Mine
just LED strips, just Amazon cheap LED strips that come with a controller that you can link up to your phone. So you just download the app.
This is what I use. I've got 3 of these on the floor behind me. These are rated for outdoors. Actually, I bought them from a garden centre.
I think I've got one. Mine came in a 2-pack, and they weren't that bad. But yeah, they just link up to the app, so it's really, really cool. And the one on the shelves behind me is literally just like an LED strip off Amazon for like 15 quid.
Mine aren't fancy. There's no apps or anything. It's just controlled by this.
How many? Richie, here's a quiz question. Are there more of these in the world, or Stadia Premier Editions?
Oh, definitely these. I have more of these than Premier Editions.
And they work on everything. Like I could walk into your house right now and change your lights.
Yeah, it's just an infrared controller. It's like, but yeah, I honestly for stuff like these, the coloured lighting I've got in this room, I'd avoid going for anything overly expensive because there's a lot of stuff there's some things in there. Like if it's a wedding, that wedding tag makes the price go up. Gaming does the same for a lot of stuff. So I bought mine from a garden centre. It's just an LED light, just coloured LEDs. And it's just a bit cheaper. And they're rated for outdoors, so if I want to use them outdoor, I can.
Could have a rave in the garden.
Let's Beautiful. Have a look. Mr. Beastly asked, I can't make it a celebration today, but I hope it goes well and that it's a barrel full of monkeys. It definitely has been so far. My question is the following. Do you think Stadia was thinking their platform would be the secondary system for most gamers? For example, my main system is a Switch, but I come to Stadia for third-party games that I can't play there.
Stadia, I think their dream would be obviously people's go-to platform. I very much think at the moment, just because of how young they are in the industry, it has to be supplementary at this moment in time. No one who's a hardcore PlayStation, Xbox, or not no one, sorry, like very few people I think would ditch the nostalgia of 10, 15, 20, 30 years of gaming heritage and exclusives and like old games that like old libraries they have pre-existing to just pick up and suddenly drop everything and move to Stadia. People will have done it, but it's what people prioritize. If you're someone who totally prioritizes convenience and doesn't give a damn about exclusive titles, yeah, totally, I could see this being the go-to thing. For someone I know like us two, Richie, we've grew up with PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox. I've got such loyalty to those brands, and I have such a passion for the exclusives that they put out, like Uncharted and Infamous, and even the new ones, Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima. Like, I will always be getting a PlayStation. They put out stellar hits like that. Like, that is undeniable. They announce a PS6 tomorrow, I'll be first in line to buy one, like, without a shadow of a doubt. However, Stadia supplements my ability to play games anywhere. No downloads, no updates. Third-party titles, I can play them on my PlayStation 5, but I like the ability to jump between devices, which PlayStation Remote Play just doesn't offer me right now. I travel a lot with work, so the convenience of playing FIFA in a hotel room, just using a Razer Kishi in my phone, is terrific. Hell, Richie, you saw me playing FIFA well, you didn't see me, you saw the video. I played it at the top of the Shard in London, 800 foot up in the air. I can't do that with a PlayStation.
Yeah, go check out that.
Get through security.
Go check out that video if you haven't already. We'll do it tomorrow because we're streaming all day, so you need to stay here.
Open up another window. Yeah. But I don't think it'll be most people's primary for a long time. But it has potential over the generation.
I know for a fact it is some people's primary because we've seen it. I've seen it in Facebook. I've seen it in our Discord. We've seen it in various different places on Twitter. I think the initial intention behind Stadia and what they're doing now are different. And Kumna has actually brought up a point that I was going to bring up about Stadia Games and Entertainment. I think with Stadia Games and Entertainment, the timing of their launch, so that it was at the end, kind of between generations, so they would be the first of the next generation platforms, I think showed to me, and with Stadia Games and Entertainment, everything they were doing initially, showed that they wanted to be people to see them as this is a viable place to switch over from gaming. You don't need to go buy a PlayStation. You don't need to buy an Xbox. I think things haven't quite went as planned, especially with Stadia Games and Entertainment. And at the moment, I think they're just trying to find what is their niche because the tech is fantastic, and it's so accessible regardless where you're at. Well, I was about to say where you're at in the world, but we know there's not in Australia,
not in Japan,
not in Brazil.
Not in India.
There's places.
Not yet. Yeah. Not yet.
But like for example, you going up the Shard, you can play anywhere. So it's like the tech's good. I think for me, what they should be focusing on is becoming the best place to play not necessarily the best place, be the most convenient place to play third-party games, the most cost-effective place to play them.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I think that title probably goes to Microsoft and with xCloud and Game Pass.
Yeah, Game Pass smashes out the park, doesn't it? Just because of the titles. For me, I think it's a really good point there to say launching kind of before the launch of the current like PS5 Series X gen. It'll be an interesting time to see over the next several years how Stadia build up their portfolio of games. They improve on the tech. They do these quality of life improvements, build relationships with developers and publishers. So maybe when we're on the cusp of the next generation and we've got PS6, the next Xbox, whatever Nintendo are doing, and it's got a decent bit of history under its belt to say, right, now everybody's, because again, it's all down to the decision making. It's, do you want to spend £400, £500, dollars, whatever, on this brand new console, or would you rather save that money, or can you even afford it to start with, but still play the majority of your favorite games? And I think that's the decision that a lot of people have to make. And at the moment, people are quite happy to drop £500 on a PS5 because they know what they're getting. With Stadia, it's still such an unknown quantity in cloud gaming in general. I think people's decision, it's a harder one to leave behind nostalgia and classic console gaming because you know nothing lesser. However, we've said many, many times, the upcoming generation of gamers that are like children going into school, college, they're starting to get jobs, spend their own money. They're the people whose decision you need to impact. And those people won't come of age for potentially 2, 3, 4, 5 more years. When cloud gaming is it's the norm. It's the go-to. It's accessible. Amazon Luna's out everywhere. Stadia is. xCloud smashed out the park. Nintendo and PlayStation might even have one. I think we'll get there. I think we'd have to literally take a step back and go, it's still such in its infancy. I think maybe next gen. You've said many times before, Xbox, you don't think they'll have another console next gen. I'm
not going to say they definitely won't, but I think that will be in their plans. Because I'm thinking probably about 6-7 years potentially for the current generation, and generations seem to be getting longer as well.
Yeah. So as with most things, time will tell.
But there's one I realised we didn't actually talk about. We'd started the question. Was back to Jin's. Do you think they got too many Stadia blades? But I want to add on a comment in. What do you think that means in terms of upgrading into Gen 2? Potentially a lot of wasted equipment, so less rushed upgrade?
It's hard to know, really, because they don't really talk that much about the cloud. Like, they did obviously at launch in GDC, but because of like COVID in the world, and they've not really been that forthcoming with communication over the last year and a half, as we've all lambasted them for.
I'm trying to avoid the communication topic in this.
We try to. But the truth is, yeah, if they just genuinely came out and did a connect or spoke to us and said, look, we're always improving the tech. By the end of the year, you'll see improvements to resolution, speed, just give us an update on what you're doing. Just like PlayStation and Xbox come out and say, like, how many times in the last few months have Xbox came out and said xCloud is getting new games, it's getting more territories, it's getting higher resolution, we're switching to the Series X server blades. And it all just happens in a blog post on the Xbox website. And yet we sit here in silence waiting for shadow drops and speculation. And that's down to the Stadia team to control the marketing. It's their business, it's their model.
I think for me, when it comes to server blades, them upgrading the server blades isn't like you upgrading a gaming PC where you might go, okay, I'm going to take out the strand, put my new RAM in, I'm going to take out my graphics card, put my new graphics card, and you end up with these components that you're not going to use. They have a massive server farm, and we've played Cake Bash today on part of our celebration stream. Putting that on better hardware isn't going to improve the game. It's a fantastic game, but you're not going to see any difference. So why grandfather your old tech when it's still perfectly adequate for playing a lot of the games out on the platform right now? That you can do a lot more economical by making a Gen 2 Stadia farm for games that are going to be a bit more demanding. Stuff that needs to be 4K, needs to be 60 frames per second, needs to be ray tracing. And then you can have your current gen platforms for other stuff that doesn't necessarily need it. I think that is probably the way they'll look at it.
Yeah, because that is the benefit of it all being in their servers. You could literally segment the lesser strenuous games that don't require that much power, put them on, direct them to the older servers. And then, if you need something like high fidelity, like maybe the new FIFA game that's running Hypermotion, direct that or store that game on your Gen 2 blades. But again, until we're told something, it's kind of all just speculation. They've told us they're upgrading them.
FIFA might already be playing on Gen 2 server blades, but I've never bought into the idea that there will be a discrete Gen 2 ever. Right? Go back through 2 years of podcasting, and I've always been like, I don't think you'll see a dedicated Gen 2. I don't think they'll ever go, hey, Stadia's been upgraded, Gen 2's here. I think it's just going to be
Stadia 2.
Yeah, it's going to be slow, incremental upgrades, a sticker RAM here, a better graphics card there. That's the thing I'll think you'll see more of.
Okay, so just to wildly speculate, Richie, if Phil Harrison was to come out on stage, just like in the past, I mean, that wasn't the question, but if he was to ever show back up at GDC and be like, hey guys, I do exist, I've been working really, really hard, we've had all of your things, we're relaunching with Stadia blank. What do you call the second follow-up to Stadia? Give it a name. Don't say Stadia 1. Don't say Stadia Series X. Do you think they'd go with Stadia 2? Or do you think they'd do a total, like, Stadia something?
Oh, well, it's Google, so what would Google do? I mean, if you look at the Chromecast, so it's Chromecast with Google TV. So it'd be Stadia with ray tracing server blades.
Yeah, that could be very long on the box, couldn't it? Includes free Premiere Edition of with Chromecast Ultra with Google TV. It's like the longest title ever.
Chromecast with Google TV and Google Stadia upgraded server blades Mark II.
Oh, Kumnar says a good one in the chat.
YouTube Games.
YouTube Games. Like
I don't think they're going to rebrand.
No, it's too much money invested in a particular brand. Like it costs a lot and it takes a lot to maintain. More importantly, it's your image. But if they ever were to fold them into subscriptions and stuff, YouTube Gaming could kind of work, and it makes it. But
YouTube Gaming,
I hope they don't.
A YouTube Gaming subscription that came with Stadia Pro, I think would be an awesome thing. But that's completely separate to like the hardware end.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to bring out a Stadia 2 ever. Because I think part of the thing they wanted to get away with cloud gaming takes you away from is the need every 5 to 10 years to upgrade the box under your TV.
That's true.
You don't have the box, they have the box, they'll upgrade it. I think so. I don't think. I think it will just be Stadia forever.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I like the name Stadia. Speaking of Stadia, not the podcast, guys. Speaking of football Stadia, I was going to say, FIFA time nearly.
Yes. So I think we should wrap here because I have to travel to yours.
Blow the final whistle.
Yeah. So, any more thoughts, Chris, before we close this out?
No, it's been great to get people's questions. Again, if anyone wants to write into the show, we do SideQuest every week. Our members of the channel get it early, but more importantly, we do take suggestions for topics. So if you have a burning question, burning away in your mind, jump on our Discord server, head to the question tab, and send your questions in. If we get a good juicy one or one that's pertinent to today's or this week's news, we'll cover it on the show. Yeah,
there's a few questions in here I think might be worth revisiting because some of them we've only kind of scratched the surface on. Some of these questions I think we could do a full episode on. And there's quite a few questions that we didn't have time to answer. But with that, that's all we have time for you this week. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon for notifications when all our great shows go live, such as the podcast, such as our Thursday night live streams, such as our celebration stream for charity, for Alzheimer's Society. Head over to justgiving.com/Helix Cloud Games. Any little you can support is massively appreciated. And with that, I've been Richie.
I've been Chris.
Thank you very much for watching. Quest completed.
Quest completed indeed.